Wrong microphone there. There we go. And we've both talked about the SPACs of Lucid. We've talked about the SPAC of the going public with CCIV, and we've been obviously holding long with AMC. There's good news for both, yet the numbers and the stock prices don't reflect either, man. What do you think about that one, Mike?
Yeah, today was one of those days where, for me, it was a double whammy in terms of the Great Red Sea, or I should say the red tide, because it's temporary. Everything ebbs and flows. But yeah, the stock market, at least for me, overall, we were. I was down quite a. Well, actually, wasn't down that much today, but then in the after hours, at least for the stock market, um, that CCIV announcement came, and surprisingly, the price of it tanked, and it tanked hard. Right now, I think we're sitting around about $40 and 36 cents as I'm speaking at this moment. And you can see as soon as the announcement, because you can time it up. I'm looking at the charts here at 5:57 today. You can see that there was a massive sell driving the price down, and it found a little bit of support at $54, but and it started rallying back. But after a while, the sell orders just took over, and this is after market trading. So I know a lot of people maybe not used to um, the market making such movements after hours, or you might hear it. So certain brokerages, if you have it enabled, you can trade your stocks after hours. This is what most of the big market movers and hedge funds they can trade for extended hours. I think after hours, at least with Fidelity, I can trade all the way up, I believe, until 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and the market opens a couple hours early as well for you to be able to trade. And you're seeing a lot of price action, a lot of price movement. We're down currently 28% in the after hours, and the way this looks for it to tank so hard so fast, it screams to me that you have a lot of institutional investors, big money investors. They did what they the old adage is, buy the rumor, sell the news. Well, this is this is that personified with how hard we're seeing the stock tank. I do think CCIV is still a great. Well, we can call it Lucid now. We'll just call it Lucid for right now. Lucid will be a great company. Is it overvalued? Of course it is. All these SPACs are overvalued, especially EV SPACs, because you're buying based off the potential, not necessarily what the company's doing right now, here today in the present. You're buying on what you think they can become. A lot of people think that Lucid will be a primary rival in the United States of Tesla as a luxury EV maker. You don't see people eyeing BMWs and Audis and Mercedes in terms of EV luxury now. You're looking at people looking at Teslas and upcoming Lucid, which Lucid Air is about to drop, start shipping later this year. So you're looking at this, and if you have two trains of thought. There's those in it that were trying to make a quick buck. I know they're a little disappointed because they're short-term holders. They weren't looking to stay in this long-term. But if you're a long-term holder, this price movement really shouldn't bother you. It bothered me a little bit because I have about 200 shares now. I wanted to sell half of my shares. I was hoping in the mid about $65 range. This morning I saw that there was a rumor out there. Bloomberg posted a rumor saying that there's a rumor that the deal could happen on Tuesday. So I was holding on, and actually in the pre-market it got up to about $64, and I thought about something. But I said, I'll wait since it's going to announce Tuesday. I expected a continued run up for the day, and then maybe a little spike in the morning, and then I was going to sell half my shares, and then the other half I was going to hold on indefinitely because I believe in the company long term. But that's not how it went down. They announced today after the market closed, and you're seeing the stock price really retreat. This could be correction. I mean, like I said, with all these SPACs, and especially the EVs, they're overvalued by the traditional sense. You're buying Lucid because you're buying the vision, you're buying the dream, you're buying what you think this company can become. And I think they're doing a lot of the right things to warrant such a valuation based off their potential. And but you see a lot of these probably institutional investors. That's what it looks like to me. These institutional investors dumping the stock. When Lucid announced, I believe when they originally were talking about this SPAC, they imagined the transaction would be anywhere between 12 and 15 billion. But it looks like that it actually went through at a transaction price of 11.75 billion, which that might have scared some institutional investors away as well. Um, we'll have to see until tomorrow what actually ultimately becomes of that. But I think if you got in at all time highs, I'm not a financial advisor, just a guy trying to make a buck. So I do this for entertainment. We both do this for entertainment purposes only. But I would, for me myself, I would hold on. I honestly think this is definitely going to be over $100 stock, and probably by the end of the year, especially once they start cranking out these deliveries and we start seeing delivery numbers. If those are meet or exceed expectations, this will be over $100 stock. In the short term, it could be a bit of a roller coaster because this is definitely one of those. It kind of got attached to the whole Reddit gamified stocks where people were just buying the hype. But I think with Lucid, it's actually you see the actual real utility of the company. You see what the company can be. People, you see what Tesla did. And Lucid's nowhere near Tesla right now. Lucid doesn't do, at the current moment, anything energy related. I do believe they'll be big into the software and automated driving. But that energy component they don't have in their company currently. But that's not to say that they won't, do that in the future. We see that Neo's doing that, and that wasn't their bread and butter starting off. But they're seeing they're doing their Neo home, they're expanding into the households. I could imagine Lucid doing something similar as well in the future, because I think these new, especially these luxury EV makers are doing, they're not just selling you a car, Troy. They're selling you a whole experience, a whole new community in life. If you ever met a Tesla owner, they're very, very, I don't want to say cliquish, but they're a tight knit community
of the company.
Yeah.
And what's interesting about Lucid, when you think about your average Tesla owner, what do you imagine? You typically imagine somebody with a little bit more money, the type of person that might have very well traded in their Audi or Mercedes and decided to go green and go and dive into the EV market. That's exactly who Lucid is targeting. I wonder how much of the drop that we saw, because I think they hit a peak. They were at 62, so almost $63 opening with the idea that we had pending news. And I think it scares a few people when the news is announced. We got exactly what we're asking for, and right after the close, and then it just kind of drops off this little cliff here. I don't think the amount is as big as some people were expecting. The institutional investors, I wonder how many of them dumped somewhere early on here. That's possible because while it was at its peaks. The people who get in early, especially institutional investors, they got shares of this at like $10, Mike. So that like their money's long locked in and long made. They can sell at these prices. We know that we've talked about in the past the IPO system being broken, and there's a lot of scrutiny coming underneath SPACs going public this way because they feel as though the company itself, Lucid itself, does not get the scrutiny that going public traditionally with just a regular firm, regular financial firm does. So the question is here, Lucid's going public. No one's driving them yet. They haven't even gone, they haven't actually started selling them yet. They're going to get their $4 billion in cash off this break, and they're going to start shipping its first luxury vehicle later on this year. We don't. I wonder how much of this is peeling back the fog of what's happening behind the scenes, because again, the books, the numbers, how many people have pre-ordered them, how many sales are already committed, things of that nature. There are a few unanswered questions. So if you're going to go long in this company, you'll have a nice dip to buy. I hope people get in when some of this rumor mill, like I think we both did. It's been almost a month since I've been in CCIV. And we've made profits. I don't know about you. I've made profit just on where the price is now, even after the drop. So yeah. Obviously, I would love to see the sucker go back to the $60 range that we saw and beyond. But it'll be interesting to see how the opening bell affects this price tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean, at this current price, I would have pretty much doubled my money. Even if this is the new floor for right now, and it's going to consolidate here for a while, I'm fine holding that. But everybody didn't get in at the same point. So it's like I said, I wouldn't panic too much. Like I said, it's all in your outlook. At this point, I'm playing with house money, but I do believe in the company long term. I did have this as going to be part of one of my a mainstay in my portfolio for the next 2 to 3 years at least, because I do believe in the potential of the company. So I'm not scared off by this. I don't think that if you're a long-term investor in the company, you should be either. I know a lot of people are new to investing, and when they see red, they freak out. And what I hope people don't do is they start selling when the market immediately opens because they're scared that it's going to drop some more. I don't think that's going to happen. I think around the $40 range is probably the new floor. It may dip a little bit below, but I think it's going to hold at least up there. On the flip side, for those who are optimistic, you can see people who were waiting for the official announcement, because there are a group of people who said, I am not going to invest until I know this is a for sure thing.
Yes.
They could also get into this stock at market open.
They could give it a lot of upward pressure in the market open
exactly.
tomorrow, especially with this dip. They might see it as an exciting chance to buy in. Somebody pointed out something very amusing. I just looked at Twitter. I don't know if you can see that image of the stream, though. It's like, you're telling me CCIV is more than NIO without producing a car? That's a very valid point.
Yeah.
It was at a point, so it's kind of corrected below NIO if this trend holds up, whereas NIO definitely took a slide of 8% rounding up on the day. Whereas Churchill did make 8% on the day, but all of the drop is after hours. So that's going to be an interesting thing.
Yeah. NIO, once again, I think NIO's way undervalued right now. And I actually added, to be quite frank, I added an extra 100 shares today because I'm just that bullish in the stock. But overall, this is one of those bad days. My portfolio was down a whopping 11%. Ouch. Yeah, that's a little close to $6,000.
That's a stiff drink right there, my friend.
Exactly. So that's why I have my drink and I have my hookah today. Because, sometimes like that, you just, take a little puff, take a little sip, and then, get ready for battle in the morning. But pretty much out of all my positions, I am not too concerned. Tesla dropped 8.92%. The whole EV market is actually going down, if you notice that. And it has such a massive run up that seeing it going down shouldn't really scare you all too much, even if you got in at all-time highs. Because if you're buying EV, you're buying off the potential in the future. You're not buying for the right now. Maybe some people got in and were trying to ride the craze, but for me, a vast majority of my portfolio is either EV or clean energy. So when that entire industry goes down, my portfolio will act and, go down accordingly. So knowing that going in, I'm not too concerned. I do think that in the long run, these things will, and people got to understand, we're only in February. We're not even out of February yet. So don't panic. We're not even out the first quarter of the year. You can't expect these stocks to go up continuously without any kind of pause or hesitation. Like I said, I'm predictive. If anything, right now, and especially Tesla, I really want to add more of that because I've gotten to, I say I wanted to get to 1,000 shares of NIO, and I've got to that point. So right now I'm looking at Tesla, and I want to increase my Tesla shares because it's at, $711.12 right now. I think that's also still a steal. So
I plan on adding more myself as soon as the money clears. I'm getting used to Fidelity and the slowness of getting paid and moving money over. I have been a little spoiled by my previous broker, who shall not be named for robbing people. But it takes so long, man, to get that money over and get it in and be able to buy those shares.
Yeah, it truly does. It has to clear. Robert Hood, would front you the money. More traditional brokers won't front you the money. They'll actually wait till that sucker clears into your account before they let you trade with it. So a lot of people were spoiled off of that, and myself included. But I'm still far happier with Fidelity. I have other accounts there. It's kind of centralized, and you can do pretty much most of the same things you can do at Robinhood. You can't. Well, actually, you can do more at Fidelity, and also Fidelity has a wider breadth of information. And another thing about Fidelity, sounds like I'm plugging it, but just for me, it's like their customer service is 24/7, so I can call and talk to a physical human being. I'm not sending an email and hoping someone responds in the next 2 to 3 days. For me just to go back and forth with that person, I can actually talk to a physical human being. I can get my questions answered and addressed, and I can get some kind of resolution in a timely manner. That in itself is worth its weight in gold. So I'm happy with my move. So, we'll see. It really is shocking how much CCIV really turned down. I didn't expect that many institutional investors to get out. Like I said, you're seeing this kind of price movement in the after hours. That has to be big institutional money pulling out, taking their profits. I wouldn't be too worried in the long term. In the short term, yeah, you might hurt a little bit. You might be red for a little while. Just like me, I'm definitely hemorrhaging some money right now. But I won't even say hemorrhaging, because you're never down until you sell, right? You never lost money until you actually sell out your whatever security you're in. So it just looks like you're down right now. But if you have that long-term belief, then you should be okay. I do believe Lucid will be a profitable, very profitable company in the future. I do think, like I said, the hype around the stock definitely made it a little overvalued. But, in the long term, I think it would justify and exceed its valuation. It's just gotta hold on and see.
One thing that I just thought of while looking at these prices, and I had the Twitter pulled up just looking at generalized CCIV news. It's a picture of this dude beat up, talk about a stop loss raid victim on Friday, waking up to the $59 this morning. We're not professionals, but man, there are some dangers to setting that stop loss. We talked about it in the crypto market. What we saw with like Ethereum today. Man, oh man, I've been roasted on a stop loss twice. It's to the point where I almost don't want to do it, because I'd rather, even if it drops, I'd absolutely rather just ride that wave out and to make my own decision to open or close my position inside the market than to just let that stop loss roast you and just watch that price come right back and I feel robbed. I feel like somebody absolutely stuck their hands in my pocket and took my shares from me.
Yeah, that stop loss can get you in trouble. At some points, it can help you out, but I dare to say, if it's stop loss works
especially
okay
if anything's
for
volatile.
it works okay for shorter term plays. But for longer term strategies, longer term holds, it can really get you hemmed up. And like you said, Ethereum, what they did is they dumped a bunch of shares on the market, drove down the price, which started a cascading effect, a domino effect of anybody. As the price fell, people's stop losses got triggered.
These dips here, man.
Yeah, and it was brutal, right? It's brutal. And now to me, if you're buying into Ethereum, if you're buying into Bitcoin, you got to believe that these are long-term plays. For heaven's sake, Bitcoin, I saw an article saying that Bitcoin just dipped below 50,000. I was like, imagine someone telling you that last year, that Bitcoin was even above 50,000, right? Yeah. And we're only in February, right? This is one of those things where you got to be have a little bit more conviction. If you're going to go into these bigger, longer term plays, you can't. To me, it's hard to swing trade. Things are this volatile. It's hard to swing trade crypto. Some people can swing trade. You swing trade on earnings. You can swing trade around the dividends and all those points in time you kind of predict where there's going to be some ebbs and flow in the stock. But when it comes to stocks that are this volatile, it's hard. It's hard to do it because you never know when the bottom will fall out. You never know when the ship's going to keep taking off. It's going to keep climbing. And you get out and you look at yourself and you climbed up another 15, 20%. And it's one of those things, if it's one of your longer term, you got to break up your portfolio into what are my longer term plays and shorter term plays and what my goals and exit strategies are. For me, I don't have a near term exit strategy for almost any of this, unless some kind of catastrophic news comes out. So, I'll still be in it. Even if you look at AMC, I'm still in that. I still have all my shares. I haven't sold partly because I believe no matter what, there's a lot of talk about short squeeze happening. Is it a possibility? Yes. It's hard to tell because a lot of the short interest numbers are self-reported, which means that the hedge funds who are shorting AMC don't have to necessarily tell you that they're shorting it. So it makes it hard to get an accurate representation, and especially now that they know that people are looking for that short interest data. It behooves them not to tell you the truth, because why would they tell you that and have more people piling on the stock? But with AMC, I just believe it just by the end of the year, when things open back up, people start going back to the movies again. Hollywood starts releasing films. It's going to go. Their revenue is going to come back. They're going to start making a profit again. I just don't think that it's going to be around $5 a share. You can't even get a small soda for $5 AMC. So what makes you think that the stock price is going to be down there? So for me, I at least, no matter if a short squeeze happens or doesn't, have a price target of $20 by the end of the year for AMC. So I'm just going to hold until at least gets to that point. So I'm fine holding on to that. So you just got to understand, be educated in what you're going to invest in. Yeah, you're going to take your risk. I think a lot of people got in risk with, Wall Street bets and GameStop and AMC. And you just got to understand that if you're going to invest in something that's going to be volatile, then you can get, you have
to understand what you're getting yourself into.
Yeah. Don't go in with pipe dreams. I know it's nice to see. Sometimes I look on Reddit and I see people talking about, it's going to get to $1,000 and he's going to get to $2,000. And, if a short squeeze happens, it could possibly spike up that price. Possibly. I don't think so, but possibly could spike up this price. I think $100 is more realistic for, a short squeeze right now. But, you just got to understand that this is a risk. It's almost like you're saying, I'm going to take this portion of it. And it should have been all your portfolio. I see some people going all in. And that's, high risk, high reward. But, you got to diversify and have your stock spread amongst multiple companies that you believe in. And, you shouldn't. It's just bad risk management to have everything all in one stock, because if that one thing were to fail or some bad news happened, imagine if you were in Boeing. I could imagine Boeing probably took another big L today. As I think this 777, a lot of them are getting sidelined to get looked at. So, you just never know. You think Boeing's going to come back. You think they're doing well. The 737 MAX got back into circulation, then they get more bad news. You can't call that. So you got to have some kind of conviction in what you're investing in, be knowledgeable about it, but also you just can't predict the weather. You don't know what's going to happen. So we'll see what happens with CCIV. I'm still long in the stock. I don't think it's going to go anywhere. In the meantime, depending on the amount of shares you have, I think the options market now will open up a little bit more and have more expiration dates for CCIV. So if you have over 100 shares of it, which some people probably do, and they in it for the long term, you can sell some covered calls and make a little bit of passive income on the way up. So there's still ways to make money off of a stock even when it goes down, right? You just gotta learn those ways and techniques, and you can still make maybe not you got a profit at that current time, but you can still make some cash off your current holdings and use that to invest in other things.
Speaking of the AMC, they had a good day today. They're up. They closed 15% up on the day, and they're up another 5% after hours. We've talked about it in the past. Will we ever have movie theaters again? Is essentially what the question is when it comes to AMC. We both believe there will be. We don't think that movie theaters will die. That being said, Governor Cuomo of New York has announced that movie theaters can reopen in New York City on March 5th. So that's coming up pretty quick. It will be at limited capacity, so it's not going to be wide open. But obviously the largest market in the country is going to begin limited capacity theaters. They're going to continue to follow social distancing protocols, and ultimately it's good news for AMC that's resulted in a nearly 20% jump just that news alone. I actually brought Disney up with it as well. We know Disney has a lot of movies in the work. Despite having their streaming service, we know that there are certain movies that Disney's been holding out. They want to release them. They want that billion-dollar box office haul. I think we have a lot of months to go before we get back to that. But the reality is, movie theaters are not going to die. They're not going to go anywhere. That's my opinion as a non-professional. And once things get back in the swing, once we get more people vaccinated and establish more protocols, hell, I'd love to see movie theaters make a shift to almost all of them have started to go into the luxury recliners and more seats instead of cramming people in there like sardines. Heck, take advantage, give people a more comfortable experience. But the reality is, I think movie theaters are not going to die. They are going to survive. They have to weather the storm. They were able to raise a little bit of money to weather the storm with the last stock pop. So I'm absolutely with you right there. Diamond hands. You begs the question: how far of a drop do you have to go through to earn your legitimate Diamond Hands award? But
I think there's been some rumors about possibly Amazon buying AMC or maybe even Netflix. And while those are just wild rumors, I don't think they're based in any hard evidence, I'll say. But it would be an interesting prospect if you were to have AMC have some kind of collaboration with Amazon or Netflix. And I'm thinking that, your subscription service to Netflix or Amazon will give you discounted movies at discounted tickets to go to AMC and maybe discounts at concessions. And on the flip term, a lot of these things that they're trying to that Netflix and Amazon are trying, the movies they're releasing, it gives them an easy avenue to release them limited in theaters at AMC first. So you can see some of these Netflix originals, AMC originals in the movie theater setting at a discount. Your subscription would kind of help offset the price of going to the theater. You get discounted concessions. AMC wins to getting more traffic and more volume into their building. So if we were to see something like that, I could definitely see this stock pop big time because I think that would be a huge deal. And it'd be a good thing for either Amazon or Netflix or maybe even Hulu to do, and at least in the short term for sure, because AMC, is down right now, so they could probably do a deal cheaper than they would do if this pandemic never happened. So it'd be interesting to see something like that happen. There's no concrete evidence for that, but I've seen a lot of people, in the rumor mill that's swirling around a lot. And it's an interesting idea. We could see if that actually gets followed up on to see if that comes to fruition. But I think, like I said, for me personally, I think AMC by the end of the year, once the vaccines continue to roll out, more people get vaccinated. I believe the magic number they keep saying is about 80%. So 80% of the population gets vaccinated. We'll get it to a form of herd immunity. At which point, I think things will open back up. Fully open back up, and will lift a lot of the restrictions on going to the movies or having public gatherings, and people are actually really able to comfortably enjoy their movie theater experience. And that's coming, for me, I think that's coming in the fall. They're already talking about plans to make sure kids get back to school full time and be able to go into school. So, they're aggressively working this, and AMC is going to benefit off the hard work of trying to get the population vaccinated as quickly as possible. So we're already seeing that the numbers of infections have started going down, and they're no longer at all-time highs. And even though the death toll is still climbing, that's going to continue to climb. As it's going to take time for people to get vaccinated, and people, and even if you get vaccinated, it's not 100% sure that you're not going to contract it, but you're going to start seeing those rates go down and decline, and that's going to be good, really for all businesses, but especially AMC.
Yeah, it's one of those things where at the end of the day, you're packing lots of people in the movie theater. People are touching these seats in and out, but they're going to have to take their own precautions, whether that's taking more time to sanitize, sterilize between showings, etc. But they're definitely working on it hard behind the scenes, I'm sure. And I'm with you. I think in the wild, crazy rumor mill idea, I think it would be absolutely excellent if Netflix or even Amazon, they both have the cash for it. Absolutely, they do. Were to make a move and buy AMC and get their hands on actual theaters, and then they'll be able to make the money from the content they're cranking out. There are people who love the movie theater experience. They want to go out. They want to go out on a date and see the movies and things of that nature. That's going to come back. It's going to come back one day. The question is just what is it's simply a matter of time and what form it will take once we get it back. So they have good news. Our largest market is going to give them a hand, and I hope for the sake of all those, just that experience. Can you fathom like the death of movie theaters? You know, there was a point where I thought it might be there, but can you imagine, like, oh yeah, we'll be telling stories to our kids one day, like, yeah, there used to be these places we would all go to watch the movie. Now we're just stuck in the house. They'll come back one day.
Yeah,
you can't be IMAX. You know?
I can't fathom a life on movie theaters. You know, that's something that I look forward to taking my daughter to, and you know that I used to go to the movies just by myself, just sometimes. I just liked the experience. I would go and like
left me out,
the movie out,
messed up, man.
and you know that's how I be sometimes. You know, sometimes I just go in there, especially if I got off of work early. I catch a matinee, and you know I would enjoy myself. I just like going to the movies. I like movies in general. So that was always a big thing for me. I can imagine that going away. I know people going on dates, you know, group outings.
It's going to always be somebody going on a date.
Yeah, I can't see that going away. So, you know, we'll keep our eye on that. AMC made some impressive strides. So did GME today. I believe they ended up maybe 13% or something around that number. But yeah, I don't see them going away anytime soon. One thing I did want to talk about was a lot of people talk about Palantir Technologies, the PLTR is their ticker symbol. This is an interesting company because their primary customer right now is the federal government, and they do a lot of big data analytics. They do a lot of cybersecurity, securing the data, and they're really making a lot of strides and winning a lot of contracts with the federal government. And I think that's being slept on. And another big indicator for me, I love Kathy Woods. I think she's a genius in you know, picking out these innovative industries, innovative companies, and disruptive technologies. And she doubled down with an additional $130 million worth of Palantir shares. And you know, I think one thing that she's earned is when she makes a move like that, I think that it warrants attention because she's looking at the long term. She's not looking at the short term horizon. She's a long term investor. Like when she was investing in Tesla, she was telling people that this could be a $2,000 stock. This is before the split, before they did the share split. So she was saying that this could be easily a $2,000 stock. She had as a conviction way back when. People laughed her out the room, and look who's laughing now. A lot of her plays, if you want to ARK invest, they're doing very, very well. And I think that's something to kind of take notice. And when she makes a move like that, she doubles down. She talked about how she thought they're going to be a great long-term play. I think so too. I think it's right now is actually a good time to get into it. I'm thinking about adding to some of my shares. I don't have as much as I want to, but you know, right now I look at everything's on sale. So I'm thinking about getting to that, getting more into that as well. I think in the medium to long term, this will be a great play. So there's something to keep your eye on if you're looking for a company to get in. I know some people have gotten in and gotten out, but I think this is more of a medium to long term play, and not necessarily a short term one, which is not all bad. I don't think your portfolio should be made up of nothing but short term plays because that's very risky. But I think this is something that if you are looking for something that's going to give you some good long term growth, I think Palantir is going to be an excellent option for you.
Absolutely. I might have to look into getting a couple of shares myself. I am not in there, never was. But I'm always have my eyes open. You know, I've made my transition. You spoke about your portfolio being down earlier, and that's unfortunate for you, but I'm only down 1%. I'm in my more stable dividend S&P 500 large cap company portfolios, with just a smaller proportion of my portfolio is in the things that I'm taking flyers on long term, like Tesla, like CCIV, AMC. But the overwhelming majority of my money at the moment is in the large cap dividend paying stocks. So I have those to look forward to. You know, as a result, the entire market for me, or my entire portfolio, I should say, it's only down 1%, so I'm hanging in there. But I definitely still want to be semi-aggressive with, again, a certain 25% at least of my portfolio. I'm not even at 25% yet. I'm going to look to get up to it as I add a little bit more money and get invested in Palantir and take a look and see what CCIV is going to do tomorrow and take advantage of some of these stocks on sale. If you believe in a stock and it dips like that, call it a sale, get in while you can, and look forward to the long-term play, especially if AMC is going to be interesting. Do I want to add another 100 shares around this price? Especially since Robinhood's no longer restricting people from buying. Or limiting how many shares that they can hold. So it's interesting to see if more people will take advantage of this price, especially with that news coming out. Buy the rumor and sell the news is difficult and becoming a little bit more difficult, in my opinion, in today's day and age, where everybody and their mama is writing articles trying to get clickbait, driving attention to their sites. You know, oh man, Bitcoin dipped below 50,000. Will it ever come back? Somebody has that article written somewhere, I'm sure. Everything's the boogeyman, so it's, you gotta understand what your investment. Again, not professionals, but understand what your investment philosophy is, and don't freak out. You freak out and sell every dip, man, you're gonna get slaughtered out there.
Yeah, and you got to figure out what. It's hard to be the master of all things. Jack. You have to figure out what industries you're passionate about and what you want to invest in. For me, right now, that's EV and cryptocurrency. So even in my portfolio, I've started shifting things over to companies that either use Bitcoin or use Ethereum or use some kind of blockchain technology in how they do business now. So you're looking at Square, you're looking at PayPal, companies like that. But I'm also looking at Marathon and Riot, and those things to me, because I'm big on the future of cryptocurrency. I think they'll grow. Another thing I'm really invested in is the Grayscale's Bitcoin and Ethereum trust. These are also excellent ways to expose your otherwise traditional stock portfolio to cryptocurrency. So EV and crypto is my biggest, where most of my money's at. I do still have things in like Target and Walmart and things like that I think are going to be mainstays and staples. But and that's when you're building your portfolio, you have to figure out what works for you. Like for Troy he's big on the dividends. He's big on those large cap, stable stocks that are going to pay dividends, and that these companies aren't going nowhere. Like Coca-Cola is not going to go under. Walmart is not going to go under. These big large cap fundamental companies are not going to go anywhere anytime soon. So that may be your strategy. You might be like me. You're more interested into the more volatile stocks, the more volatile, securities that will fluctuate heavily. So when you see days like that, when you see days where you lost $7,000, $8,000, $9,000, you got to be okay with that. You got to understand that I'm taking this risk, but I do know on the upside, it could just swing up as much, just as fast as that, it went down. So you got to understand, what your risk tolerance is and what are you willing to put up with? Because if you don't have that certain level of risk tolerance, or you don't evaluate what you're comfortable with gaining and losing at any given moment, then, you're going to make emotional decisions. You're going to panic sell. You sell at losses when you don't need to. And you're going to lose more money than you make. So it's important to have that conviction about you. It might be that, the EV industry is going through a downturn right now, and it might stay down for another 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 months. And that might be that. And for me, if that's the case, then I just got to ride it out. It's going to suck. I'm not going to lie to you, but you just got to ride it out. You got to have that kind of conviction and kind of plan when you're investing. Don't just do it fly by night. Don't just invest in the latest Reddit.
This is not for quick flipping.
Or the latest
Twitter game is not for quick flipping.
You're going to lose money trying to do that, trying to chase trends. Don't chase trends. You need to identify a trend maybe and then go after it, but don't chase trends. Don't chase hype all the time. Every once in a while you might want to take a flyer or something, but your portfolio should have a common theme. Wherever that theme is, you need to decide on it. We're not financial advisors, so we can't tell you what your theme is going to be, but you need to figure out what the theme of your portfolio is going to be, what investment strategy you're going to have, and something that you're passionate about. Crypto and EV or something, and clean energy is something that I'm passionate about, so I'm fine having my money there. But that you may not be passionate about that. So that might be torture sitting there watching something lose money on something you're not even passionate about. And that's like a double whammy. So figure out what that's going to be for yourself. And then it makes it easier to go, get through these red days and, you can tolerate these losses.
Hopefully your money is only going into, again, we're not professionals, but your money should only be going into things that you do believe in. At the end of the day, you're putting literally your money where your mouth is and or where your thoughts are. They should go into things you believe in. You should be investing in things that you understand what they do and how they will make money. What are they? How are they going to make money? That's ultimately the magic question. It's gotten so much attention, the Wall Street bets. People hear about all the people that managed to make money in GameStop by getting into it early. And now we're going to see an entire year, essentially, Mike, of people trying to find the next rumor, looking at any chat rooms, turning over any rock just to get. Don't even know what the company's called. Give me the symbol, please, so I can go and throw my money in it. Hopefully, people are not doing that. That's not a good way to invest. That's very dangerous. Extremely volatile trading, extremely volatile methods. Like I said, in the wake of all this, I've restabilized my portfolio where I'm going to have about 50% or maybe more of my investments in large blue chip dividend paying stocks. And I spoke about it earlier, the articles like this one I have up, Elon Musk, I missed this one. He made a comment, said the prices seem high, so it dropped 10%. I'm wondering if he decided to buy some more damn Bitcoin after that drop, because the man's ability to move the market is incredible. And that would just be brilliant. What are they going to do? And here's the interesting part about crypto is, the SEC doesn't have the same amount of regulatory authority there. So
Nope.
if he's able to just come out there and say, hey, prices seem high, and save himself 10% on buying some more damn currency, and it dropped briefly below 5,000. I can't find it. Is it right here? Like, it's barely, and that looks like it didn't even actually go below it. It's right back up to 5,300 and climbing. It almost hit 55. It recovered instantaneously. It's like, submit tweet, wait for it, hold, and then just submit his buy order right there during the darn dip. He could probably do that from now to the end of time because he is that powerful. And so many people look up to him and so many people listen to him. But at the end of the day, Mike's absolutely right. Put your money in your mouth. And even the dividend stocks I picked, they're stocks that I believe in. Stocks that I don't think are going anywhere. No, Coca-Cola's not going anywhere. PepsiCo's not going anywhere. Johnson & Johnson's not going anywhere. Merck, Pfizer, they're not going anywhere. McDonald's not going anywhere. Large companies with proven histories that pay out dividends year in and year out, economic downturn or upturn, recession or not, doesn't matter. They're making money, they're churning out dividends, and they're going to keep on rocking. So that allows me to have my nest egg, if you will, with a stable platform. And with that, I can begin to branch out. EVs make up another 25%. Believe in them long term for the future. Again, long term holds. Whatever I see this year, don't even care. Because, again, we're going to see the end of the internal combustion engine in our lifetimes. Lord willing, we live that long. I obviously would love to. And if we see it, we're going to see these stocks become, astronomical one day. Every stock that you see that's as high as it can get, the Amazons, the Googles, there was a point where those stocks were in the $50 range. There's a point where those stocks were in the $100 range, even $1,000 range, and they just keep climbing because you believe in them long term, because they're a disruptive technology that has a long-term future that's going to become utterly dominant. And I think that's what we're going to see in the EV market. It's obvious. Without digging too far in the weeds of things, climate change is real. We're going to have to begin making steps as a planet. Everyone in every nation out there is interested in the EV because it makes sense for money purposes, first of all, if you can recharge your own cars, and it makes sense for the climate. It makes sense politically. So a lot of people are going to get hell. I can't make a left out here in North Texas. This is the land of oil. This is the land of fossil fuels. But again, we spoke about it. We went through that freeze and lost a little power last week, but Texas does have a lot of green energy. They're going green even without the government regulation. They're going green even though that kind of flies in the face of their political philosophies. And there's Tesla cars and trucks everywhere out here. I can't even walk around a block without seeing a Tesla. There's like 5 of them in my neighborhood on the same street. You're going to see electric vehicles everywhere. I think Lucid with their luxury offering in the vehicles, because right now when you buy a Tesla, they have kind of a minimalist style to them. So with Lucid giving people their leather back and the wood grain back and things of that nature in the cars, it's going to be quite interesting. I think there's going to be a lot of money around us, Mike, that's going to get involved in that, and we'll see what that looks like in a year. But we're just getting started. EV vehicles are what? If they're not still in their infancy, they're barely a toddler. So they have so far to go and so much upward growth to go. You want to be along for that ride. That ride's not going to be over with in a month. It might not even going to be over with in a year. Those are long-term plays. Have some long-term plays in your portfolio. My unprofessional opinion.
Yeah, and I'm a big proponent in it. My next vehicle purchase will be. I'm waiting for the Cybertruck. I pre-ordered it. It's probably gonna be another couple of years before they're ready with the engine I want, because I want that tri-engine, tri-motor. Excuse me, not gonna be engine, the motor. So I'm very big into it. I don't know if in this house or maybe my next house, I plan on getting the solar roof, having all the power walls and being energy, self-sustaining. I can charge my car off the sun. I can run my house off the sun. And if I'm making excess energy, I can put that back into the grid and get a little paycheck from that as well. That's what I'm looking forward to. That's what I want to do. And that's why I'm so big and bullish into it. Because like I said, for all the reasons, climate change is real. I think it's all the science says it's real. If you don't believe in it, it's just because you don't want to believe in it.
You can't keep saying that it's real.
Yeah, you can't keep polluting the earth. I always say you can't start your car up in your garage and sit in there and nothing happens. You'll die eventually. Same thing is going to happen on a macro level. We can't keep polluting the environment, putting all these carbon emissions into the air and nothing bad's happening. We're already seeing more extreme temperature shifts. We're already seeing the polar ice caps melt, glaciers melting left and right, extreme swings in temperature where there's normally not that big of extreme swing in temperature. More named storms that happened.
Texas froze over last week. We were both here in North Texas, freezing with no power.
Yeah, negative
one
degree
degree outside.
It got negative
Texas.
1. Actually, at my house in Frisco, it was negative 3 degrees. I believe on Tuesday morning, with a wind chill of negative 16. I had to walk out just to see what it felt like, because I've never been
the
out.
Wind chills were punishing.
So I walked outside just to feel it, because I was like, it's negative.
Well, you're the polar bear. You enjoy that sort of thing. I'll stay warm.
So I walked outside. I just I had to feel this, because I was like, this is something. This is unfolding in front of our eyes, and it's going to only get progressively worse in a linear fashion as the longer we wait to do stuff. Fossil fuels are going to be around for a while. It's not going to be a day and night shut over, but we're going to start finding different ways to do things. We're going to start looking at biodiesel ways of power. We're going to start looking at zero or negative carbon neutral or negative carbon ways of producing natural gas. It's going to be, these things are going to happen. We just have to put that money into the innovation to make them happen, the research, the research and development, and then making, that's when, large scale adoption occurs, regulations occur to say, hey, we're going to mandate by this date that all these cars be, have to be, EV or natural gas or hydrogen, whatever the way. It's going to happen at some point. For me, I'd rather be on riding the wave than to get overcome by it. I also think it's just good for the planet. I think about my kids, your kids, everybody's kids. Eventually when we die, we want to hand over a planet to them. So at least you want to say, well, we tried to hand over a planet where we started to repair the damage that we've done over, centuries. Right now, we're since the Industrial Revolution, we were polluting the air. So we're trying to fix centuries worth of damage to the environment, and we're becoming more conscious. I don't think that's a bad thing. I don't think that should be a left thing or a right thing, red thing, blue thing. It should be just a common human decency thing. So that's why I'm big in these stocks. That's why I don't think they're going anywhere anytime soon. And you can make similar cases for cryptocurrency about being decentralized. Robinhood was the perfect poster child of why you need stuff to be decentralized. So you can't have one central authority controlling and manipulating the market when things are truly decentralized and the power is essentially in the people's hands. And that's what we want. So you're going to see a lot of these disruptive technologies come in to fruition. They're starting to get more mainstream adoption. I'd rather be on the cutting edge than get, chasing and getting left behind. That's, my investment philosophy. And that's why I invest the way I do. And like I said, you have to figure out what's going to work for you. If that doesn't work for you, then find out what does. But you need to have some kind of some kind of code to say, this is why I invest the way I invest.
Absolutely. And obviously, when investment, how does it make money is sometimes the punishing reality of it. EV will make money because companies and countries are going to embrace green technology because it saves money, not just because of the environment, though that's also a worthy cause. I know people who have Teslas who enjoy them. They've had them for years now. They don't have to get oil changes with an electric vehicle. They're not going to the gas station with an electric vehicle. And especially out here in Texas, this last week aside, we have cheap energy. I know people who have the entire solar wall with panels, the Tesla wall with the panels. They have the ecosystem. And they charge their car up when they're at home, and they haven't paid for gas in years. It saves them money in the long run, and the longer they operate like that, it saves them money. How does it make you money is the magic question when you're investing in a stock, and going green is financially viable. We know that there are companies like GM, 100-year history of car making. They're going to be all EV in 15 years or less. We know that the President of the United States has signed an executive order. He wants the entire government fleet to be EV in 15 years or less. And they're going to buy those cars from someone. So there's tons of money to be made in it. It's a long haul play. It's not here for a quick flip. Have some things you believe in for one reason or the other. Be able to articulate those reasons to someone when you're asked about why you're into these. Obviously, you don't have to explain your portfolio, but you should be able to understand why your money is where it is.
Yeah. Once you do that, make it investing will be easier. You can manage these market swings without the too much of an emotional attachment. So we're going to go ahead and wrap this up. Thanks for watching. Please make sure you like and subscribe and comment and reach out to us if you have any questions. We're going to keep trying to do these these live streams a little bit more regularly, and we'll react to how the market reacts. Any news comes out, we'll come here and talk about it. So we just really want to thank you guys for watching and listening, and hopefully your wallets will forever grow. I'm hoping mine's grow. I know, Troy, you're hoping yours grow, and we'll catch you on the flip side.
And we're hoping everyone will always remain in the black. I had to, couldn't.